YouTube. An update slash, not really an update per se, but just to kind of show you a little bit more about what I'm doing in League. A little bit of the changes I've made and what I'm thinking about this build, how how I feel about it, so on and so forth. So, first things first, I wanted to mention that this build is currently set up to where I am using Awakened Chain, and Awakened Chain is a very, very good skill gem, but it is by far the best skill gem you can use in its place. For example, you can use Hypothermia because you're always going to chill with the crit chance being as high as possible. Eventually, you're going to be doing just fine, getting that thing going. So let's go ahead and sell some prophecies. I don't even know why they're all priced differently, but they're probably from old tabs, so it's fine. Alright, so first things first, I wanted to mention that I have, I'm looking for an enchant for my boots. I'm going to be getting Pen, and because I have so much flat damage, I have actually opted into using something like Trinity support. So Trinity really helps me get a lot more multipliers and more Pen. Now I am working on the way this damage is scaled via, just kind of tweaking things, adding gems, adding stuff like that in my links, and figuring things out. I have no real issue doing any content now. Cyrus takes me about 5 minutes. Bosses such as Uhl are about 5 minutes up to my depth, which is 555, I believe. And the Val boss is like 2 or 3 minutes, sometimes more, depending on health mods or whatever. The changes I have made so far is Trinity, added Lightning, added Cold, LA damage with attacks, Awakened Chain, and then obviously the Phantasmal Lightning Arrow, which is the chance to hit an additional enemy. Now this is really good, however, you can probably get away with doing something different. I'm doing this just because I can. The Asenath chant I have is Lightning Arrow hits 2 additional enemies, so this is probably, it's probably better just to use a regular one because it's upping your base damage. In our armor, we actually added a Mirage Archer with Ensnaring Arrow. As I said in my last video, that is one of the upgrades I'm going to be doing. And we have added Herald of Thunder and Wrath, and this is giving us a very, very solid amount of damage. If I actually go to my Lightning Arrow, which is right here, I have 264,000 tooltip, 221, 264 it looks like. I have very solid crit chance and decent crit multi, so my damage is just really good. Now, I will say that as far as my DPS goes, it feels like I am not proccing my Trinity as much as I should be, or as much as I'd like to. So I'm unsure what I'm going to be doing about that and how I'm going to be changing that, but as of now, I'm just kind of, during mapping at least, I have no issues. On certain bosses, it doesn't feel like my Trinity wants to pop the way I'd like it to, unfortunately, but as I kind of figured things out, hopefully we can kind of get that number a little bit on an average. Now, when I'm mapping, I just blow through content. I can do 10, what do you call it, Scourge 10 maps, and I can do any boss, anything like that, really quickly. Now, one thing I will say is if you wanted to go a different route and use crafted rings instead of my rings, I'm only using these rings because they have damage. I don't care about my reses. If you can't tell, I don't really at all care about my reses. When you take no damage, you just kind of lose interest in anything defensive. So 1700 life with 2120 res, negative 60 chaos, it's whatever. But what you can do is you can actually use crafted rings with good prefixes, and there's a suffix that says reduce effect to shock, which will inherently make this flask right here useless. So if you have 2 of these rings crafted with prefixes, with good prefixes with like LE damage with attacks and maybe cold damage to attacks, they're shaper, cold damage against shield enemies, and then you have just any suffixes, but as long as you have an open suffix of the reduce effect to shock, 2 of those will make it so you can actually self-shock yourself on any setup. If you decided to do that, you can go Deadeye, and Deadeye would give you 2 arrows, chain, and then the biggest part is Tailwind, and 75% increased Sniper's Mark effect. Now, because we have a relatively solid attack speed, Tailwind's an insane damage multiplier for us, and then the 75% increased effect of Sniper's Mark basically gives us a huge DPS boost when it comes to bossing. Along with the fact that we'll be able to drop Chain and use Hypothermia, which will be a more multiplier against shield enemies, or we can actually, instead of using that, Another one you can use is you can actually drop a chain for inspiration if you wanted to do it that way. And if you did decide to do it that way, you'd have a little more crit chance. You don't need it, but you would have a little more crit chance and more multiplier to go with it. So just a kind of food for thought. And then of course we can also do a glove upgrade, which would be have to do with crafting gloves. Now I like the explode for delve because a lot of the mobs have a lot extra HP when you're down there. So you know if you're looking to, for like, hey, I need to clear some delve mobs, this is the way you do it. It's pretty good. So the rest is the same. We haven't changed anything. Still haven't put the rest of the tin quality on this, and yeah, I don't even think we have quality on this one. No, we don't. So yeah, that's pretty much nothing else has changed. Just a couple gym links switched around, but my damage has definitely felt like it's increased, and I will say that I am thoroughly enjoying where this build is at this moment. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and do a delve node real quick just to kind of showcase to you what it feels like. As you see, I'm at 552. I just got through with an amazing setup of delve right here. We actually had 1, 2, 3 owls spawn, along with I believe 2 of the green boss and 2 of the orange boss, which are the Val boss, which is insane for one little pocket. So this is actually like the best pocket I've had of bosses in a while, and I'm really stoked that it turned out that way because it's a lot of fun fighting them, and I've gotten a lot of value off of them. But all good things must come to an end, and now I must go sideways until I find the next Delve City patch. Hopefully it's sooner than later, but we'll end up finding out, sooner rather than later. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and go to this node and kind of show off exactly our DPS. As I said, or as you've seen, this is depth 552. Now, I could push upwards of 1,000. I've actually done a 900 node of my friends. Not like fully, but I did it enough to where I was like killing the mobs. Just as a test more than anything. I tried to carry their owls, but unfortunately the depth at that depth, the owls was just so insanely beefy and tanky that I couldn't put it down in a timely manner. So as you see, we're still invulnerable. We have no real issues. I will say is for some reason, even though you don't take any damage, there is one modifier you have to be careful on Scourge maps. And I know there are ways to mitigate it otherwise, but the modifier is take 15,000 Fizz. I believe it's just 15,000 that hits me and kills me. Everything else just hits me and does like a little bit of damage. So just a heads up if you're looking to do this build. You just got to be careful with that. Oh, looks like we have no more flares or dynamite, so that's my bad. I forgot I just got done doing a Val boss, so I don't go back for walls. I find like just pushing onwards to go to the next boss and everything like that is more entertaining for me. I don't need anything else really in League. I'm just having fun with it, and this is one of the things I'm doing is fighting as many of the bosses as possible. I actually have found enough luminous troves to get a voices. Unfortunately, it was 7 point. Alright, looks like we're doing pretty well. And as you see there, everything died really quickly. Didn't really have anything to worry about. Obviously, when you take no damage, you don't, but yeah. Excuse me. Looks like, let's see, it looks like it kind of, did it fling me back somehow? Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was interesting. Well, as you saw, we don't really have any issues with this. Like, I'm not having any issues doing any of the content I want to do. All I'm doing now is pushing for, where I'm going to go next as far as Delve, and then going back up and, doing my maps that I need to do to fill up my soul fight. Now, I have recently... Oh, I forgot to fill up again. I have recently started to farm for a friend a bunch of breach stones because they were trying to farm to Val, but they have recently pretty much ran pretty dry on cash, so I have decided to stop doing that and just go back to my delving. And, you know, as they need it, I will definitely get more for them, but it is what it is. If you guys do like this kind of setup and you're, you know, kind of appreciative of the damage, then feel free to try it. I will say, as you see here, this is a performance issue on PS4. You do get lag whenever you have a lot of monsters. Right here, when you see that where it says 57% pack size, that is insane for PS4. On after that, they also have 40% all elemental res. I pin some of it, but I don't pin enough of it for it to matter that much. So yeah, we're just going to just put down these little snowballs right there. So if you don't know how these nodes work, it's really simple. You just got to find the little floating snowballs and kill them. After you kill them, you end the node. This is actually a boss node, it looks like. So what will happen is I have to keep killing the snow nodes until a little boss comes out, and then I kill the boss. See, as you see, they start exploding. And then the boss comes out. And as you can tell, the boss is just a pushover. You can just kind of blow him away. And yeah, this is depth 552, and we are having no issues. But yep, I just wanted to kind of showcase where I'm at, what this looks like, what it feels like. As you can see, we are taking no damage, and our damage is very, very good. If you guys have any interest in this kind of thing, feel free to check out my first video. And as always, everybody, take it easy and have a good one.